week 6 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few kickers I have as sleepers this week. The first guy, Greg Zuerlein of the New York Jets. So this Jet team, I know they have trouble scoring this season, but they're a team that does get in the red zone at times, and they just don't finish off drives. So Greg Zuerlein coming off a monster game at the Denver Broncos, where he had 18 fantasy points in last week's matchup. So this week he in a matchup versus the Philadelphia Eagles, where the Jets know they got to put points on the board early and often, and they might try Zuerlein out there for some 50-plus yarders versus this Eagle team. So right now, while he's available in 96% of fantasy leagues, and he is still Greg the Leg with good distance, and on a Jet team that's going to struggle to find the end zone, but still, I think, could get in the red zone and get a few field goal opportunities. He's a sleeper this week. The next kicker, Blake Grupp, New Orleans Saints. So Blake Grupp, I've mentioned him a lot this season in my videos, and this Saint team obviously likes him, that they traded Will Lutz away, longtime kicker, to the Denver Broncos right before the season started. So Grupp right now available in 96% of fantasy leagues as well. And this season, he's got 3 double-digit fantasy games and at least 4 games with 8 or more fantasy points. So his only bad game this season was week 3 of Green Bay with 4 fantasy points. So this week here, indoor game with the Houston Texans. This could be a mini shootout kind of, or a grinded out type of ball game. But anyway, with the indoor game, the Saint team, they're another team in the red zone that doesn't always punch it in and have to settle for field goals, obviously. I think this could be the case once again. So if you're in a deeper league or you need a buy-in fill-in at the kicker position, I think Grupp is a decent option this week as a sleeper. And the third and final kicker I have as a sleeper is Cairo Santos of the Chicago Bears. So Cairo Santos, he's been a long-time kicker now over the last few seasons for the Chicago Bear team. And there's some weeks where he has pop weeks, like last week, 17 fantasy points at the Commanders. So this week here in a potential shootout versus the Minnesota Vikings coming to town in Soldier Field, I think Cairo Santos is going to get a few opportunities. This Viking defense really isn't that good. They do give up the 13th most fantasy point kickers on the season. I think Santos, if he gets opportunities as a kicker, that more times than not is going to get it through the uprights about 85-90% of the time. So this week with a good matchup and a potential shootout and available in 99% of fantasy leagues, I have Santos as a sleeper this week. So that's a few kickers I have as sleepers here in week 6 of the fantasy football season.